Welcome to Bookish and Beyond, Money, where financial wisdom comes to life. In each episode, we break down the world's most impactful finance books, from money management guides to investment biographies. We explore key takeaways, author insights, and draw modern parallels to help you navigate today's financial landscape. Craving even more? Subscribers enjoy exclusive access to detailed book summaries, study guides, and timeline PDFs. Everything you need to deepen your financial savvy. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. This is Bookish and Beyond. Money?
Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. Today, we are going to be tackling Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. You've shared with us some excerpts from the audiobook version, so let's get into it. I think this book is almost a century old, right? But it still resonates with so many people today. I'm really curious to see what we can unearth, what nuggets of wisdom we can dig up.
Yeah, it really is fascinating how timeless some of these principles are.
Yeah.
And what I think is so cool is that, Hill based his ideas on interviews with hundreds of successful people.
Yeah.
So it's not just theory. It's rooted in real world experience.
That's right. Yeah. And one of the first things that kind of jumps out at you from the audiobook is this emphasis on desire, right?
Yeah.
Not just kind of wanting something, but having this burning, all consuming passion.
And he calls it a burning desire.
Yeah.
And it goes way deeper than just setting a goal.
Yeah.
It's like he uses the example of Henry Ford, who was just absolutely obsessed with making cars accessible to everyone. Ford didn't just want to build cars. He wanted to belt the earth with them.
Yeah.
That kind of intense desire is what fuels achievement.
Okay, so it's not just about saying, I want to be rich. It's about having that almost obsessive drive that pushes you forward even when things get tough.
Exactly. And it makes me think about when I was starting my own business, I was so focused on making it work that I was practically living and breathing it. It wasn't just about putting in the hours. I was consumed by the idea.
Yeah.
And that's what helped me push through the inevitable challenges.
Yeah, that makes total sense. It's like that intense focus amplifies your energy and your creativity. But desire alone isn't enough, is it? The audiobook also talks about the power of belief.
Absolutely. Hill says you need to develop money consciousness. So it's not just about wanting wealth, it's about seeing yourself already possessing it. You have to truly believe in your ability to achieve your goals.
So how do you actually do that? I mean, it's easy to say believe in yourself,
Yeah.
But how do you make that belief feel real when you're just starting out?
Well, Hill suggests using affirmations and visualization. It's about repeatedly feeding your subconscious mind with positive statements and vivid images of yourself already achieving your goals.
So if you want to start a successful business, you don't just say, I hope this works out. You visualize yourself running that thriving business, feeling the success, and really embodying that image.
Exactly. You're training your mind to expect success, not failure.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all of this fits together. You have this burning desire, you combine it with this unshakable belief, but then how do you go from dreaming to actually doing?
That's where Hill's concept of the mastermind comes into play.
The mastermind, it sounds kind of mysterious. What is that all about?
Well, it's about the power of collaboration. Hill argues that surrounding yourself with a supportive network of brilliant minds can dramatically amplify your chances of success. He uses the example of Andrew Carnegie, who was a steel magnate and one of the richest men of his time.
Okay, yeah, Andrew Carnegie. Didn't he build a huge steel empire?
He did. And Hill says that Carnegie attributed much of his success to his mastermind, a group of talented individuals that he assembled to help him solve problems, generate ideas, make strategic decisions.
So it's like having your own personal board of advisors, people who challenge you, support you, and bring their own unique skills and perspectives to the table.
Exactly. It's about leveraging the collective wisdom and energy of a group to achieve something far greater than you could alone. And it's interesting, because even though Think and Grow Rich was written decades before the internet, the idea of a mastermind is more relevant than ever today. Think about all the online communities, the collaborations, the partnerships that are happening now.
Right. It's like the mastermind principle is baked into the fabric of modern entrepreneurship.
I think so. And it makes me think about all the amazing things that can happen when people come together with a shared vision and a willingness to support each other's growth.
Okay, so we've got the burning desire, the unwavering belief, and the power of the mastermind. It seems like we're building a solid foundation for success here. But how do we take all of this abstract stuff and turn it into concrete action?
Well, that's what we're going to explore next. Because Hill provides a very specific 6-step action plan for transforming desire into riches. So we were talking about having the desire, the belief, and then, of course, surrounding yourself with your mastermind group. But now comes the real work. You've got to turn all of that into tangible results.
Right. So let's get practical here. What does Hill say about taking action?
Well, he lays out this 6-step plan for turning desire into riches.
Yeah.
And it all starts with writing down your goals. And I don't just mean thinking about them, actually writing them down clearly and specifically.
That makes a lot of sense. Putting pen to paper, I don't know why, but it just makes it more real. It's like a declaration.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's not talking about vague wishes either. Hill stresses the importance of setting deadlines and creating a detailed plan. It's about turning that abstract desire into a tangible roadmap.
So, for example, if someone wants to start a business, instead of just saying, I want to be my own boss, they would write down, I will launch my online store selling handmade jewelry by December 1st, 2025.
Precisely. Yeah. It's about moving from the realm of someday to the realm of, by this date, I will have achieved this specific goal.
That's a powerful shift in mindset. But even with a plan, I think a lot of people struggle with procrastination. I know I do sometimes. It's so easy to get caught up in planning and then never actually starting.
Oh, absolutely. You're right. Hill actually dedicates a whole chapter to overcoming procrastination. He sees it as like a major obstacle to success. And he suggests, making quick decisions and breaking down large tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks.
So instead of feeling overwhelmed by this huge project, you break it down into these smaller steps that feel less daunting.
Exactly. It's about building momentum and avoiding that analysis paralysis. And this actually reminds me of a story about Charles Schwab, who's the president of Bethlehem Steel. He faced a huge challenge, boosting productivity at the steel mill.
Okay, so how did he use Hill's principles to do that?
Well, Schwab met with his production manager, Ivy Lee, and he asked for a simple way to get more things done. And Lee suggested a technique that aligns perfectly with Hill's advice on overcoming procrastination. He told Schwab to write down the 6 most important tasks for the next day, prioritize them, and then focus on completing the few tasks before moving on to the next.
Okay. It sounds pretty straightforward. Did it work?
It did. Schwab implemented this technique and was so impressed with the results that he sent Lee a check for $25,000.
Wow. That's a pretty hefty payment for a productivity tip. It shows how much value he placed on getting things done effectively.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it highlights how these seemingly simple principles can have a huge impact when they're applied consistently. It's not always about complex solutions. Sometimes it's just about taking focused action on the most important things.
Okay, so we've got a plan, we're taking action. But even then, there will inevitably be setbacks, right? How does Hill address that?
Well, he talks a lot about the importance of persistence. He uses the example of Thomas Edison, who famously tried thousands of materials before finding the right one for their light bulb filament. Edison didn't see those failed attempts as failures. He saw them as steps towards success.
Right. So it's about viewing those setbacks not as reasons to quit, but as opportunities to learn and adjust and keep going.
Exactly. And this reminds me of something I read about the Wright brothers. They faced countless challenges and setbacks while they were trying to achieve powered flight, but they never gave up. They kept experimenting, refining their designs, and ultimately their persistence paid off.
I love that example. It really speaks to the power of not letting those setbacks define you, but using them as fuel to keep moving forward. But even with the best intentions, it can be hard to stay motivated, especially when you're faced with self-doubt and negative thoughts.
Yeah, Hill addresses this directly by emphasizing the power of autosuggestion. This is about consciously feeding your subconscious mind with positive affirmations. It's like reprogramming your inner dialogue to support your goals.
So instead of letting those negative thoughts take over, you replace them with these empowering statements about your abilities and your future success.
Exactly. And Hill stresses the importance of using emotionalized suggestions and repeating them frequently. It's not just about saying empty phrases. It's about connecting those affirmations to your deepest desires and visualizing yourself achieving them.
Okay. So let's say someone is struggling with fear of failure. What kind of auto-suggestions might they use?
Well, they might repeat phrases like, I am courageous and capable. I embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, or I am unstoppable in pursuit of my goals.
Yeah, it's like giving yourself a pep talk. But instead of doing it, just once you're consistently reinforcing these positive messages to rewire your thinking.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is that modern neuroscience actually supports Hill's ideas about autosuggestion.
Yeah.
Research shows that our thoughts can actually change the physical structure of our brains.
So by consistently thinking positive thoughts, we're literally rewiring our brains for success.
That's right. It's pretty amazing to think about.
Okay, so we're tackling procrastination, cultivating persistence, using autosuggestion to reprogram our thinking. But what about the external factors that can influence our success?
Well, Hill definitely acknowledges that opportunity plays a role. He talks about America as this land of opportunity. But he also points out that opportunities often lie in meeting basic needs.
Yeah, so it's about being observant, looking for those unmet needs and finding ways to fill them.
Exactly. He gives a simple example: the demand for breakfast foods in New York City. It's not glamorous, but it's a need that can be met and turned into a successful business.
That's such a great point. It's about looking beyond the obvious and seeing the potential in those everyday needs.
And it makes me think about all the successful businesses that have sprung up around online services, like grocery delivery or virtual assistants. They're meeting needs that may not have even existed a few decades ago.
That's true. It's like the landscape of opportunity is constantly evolving, and it's up to us to stay alert and adapt to those changes. But how does Hill's perspective on opportunity fit into his overall philosophy on wealth creation?
That's where his perspective on capitalism comes in. He acknowledges that the system isn't perfect, but he sees it as a framework where success can be achieved through service.
So it sounds like he's saying that true wealth, it isn't just about taking, it's about giving back, providing value.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He really emphasizes that lasting wealth comes from fulfilling a genuine need. It's about aligning your desire for personal success with a desire to make a positive impact in the world.
Yeah, that makes me think of this entrepreneur I heard about. He started a company that provides clean water to communities in developing countries. And he was driven by this desire to make a difference. And that purpose fueled his business success.
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the idea that when you're passionate about solving a problem, that passion can be incredibly powerful. It can drive innovation and resilience and ultimately success.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the importance of desire, belief, action persistence, the mastermind principle, autosuggestion, and even the role of opportunity and service. But there's one more piece of the puzzle that I'm curious about: Hill's emphasis on the power of the subconscious mind.
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah.
It's a concept that he weaves throughout the whole book, and it's really at the core of his philosophy. Hill argues that our subconscious mind is far more powerful than we realize, and it's constantly shaping our beliefs, our behaviors, and ultimately our results.
So if we want to achieve lasting success, we need to understand how to tap into that power and align our subconscious mind with our conscious goals.
Absolutely. And Hill offers some fascinating insights into how to do that. He talks about the importance of auto-suggestion, which we touched on earlier, as a way to kind of reprogram our subconscious beliefs. And he also emphasizes the role of emotions in shaping our subconscious mind.
Oh, so it's not just about thinking positive thoughts, it's about feeling those positive emotions as well.
Exactly. Yeah, Hill argues that strong emotions, both positive and negative, have a profound impact on our beliefs and our actions. So he suggests that we can leverage this understanding to our advantage by consciously cultivating positive emotions and by associating those emotions with our desired outcomes.
So if you're working towards a goal, you don't just want to think about it logically. You want to visualize it, feel the excitement of achieving it, and really embody that feeling of success.
That's right. And Hill suggests that we create these vivid mental pictures of our desired outcomes, engaging all of our senses to make those visualizations as real as possible. He even suggests using affirmations that evoke positive emotions. So, for example, instead of just saying, "I am wealthy," you might say, "I am overflowing with abundance and gratitude for all the good in my life."
Oh, that's a great example. It's about infusing those affirmations with feeling, not just repeating empty words.
Right. It's about making those positive beliefs feel real to your subconscious mind.
Okay, so we're using autosuggestion, visualization, emotionalized affirmations to kind of reprogram our subconscious mind. But Hill also talks about the importance of faith, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
And he defines faith as a state of mind that can be cultivated through repeated instructions to the subconscious mind. And he argues that faith is essential for achieving our goals because it allows us to believe in the unseen, to trust in our ability to achieve something even before we see tangible results.
So it's about having that unwavering belief in yourself and in your vision, even when faced with doubt or uncertainty.
Exactly. And Hill suggests that we can develop this faith by consistently affirming our beliefs, visualizing our goals, and acting as if we already possess the qualities and resources that we desire. He even goes so far as to say that faith is the head chemist of the mind.
Wow, that's a powerful statement. It really speaks to the idea that our beliefs shape our reality.
He does.
Yeah.
And Hill reminds us that faith is not just some mystical force. It's a state of mind that can be cultivated through conscious effort.
Okay, so we're cultivating faith, reprogramming our subconscious mind, taking action, persisting through challenges. It sounds like Hill has given us a pretty comprehensive blueprint for success here. But are there any potential pitfalls or challenges that we should be aware of?
Well, one of the things that Hill emphasizes is the importance of taking personal responsibility for our lives. He argues that if we want to achieve success, we need to own our choices, our beliefs, our actions.
Yeah.
And he cautions against blaming external circumstances or other people for our lack of progress.
So it's about recognizing that we have the power to shape our own destiny.
Exactly. He challenges us to move beyond a victim mentality and to embrace a mindset of empowerment. Recognize that we are the architects of our own lives. And this can be a challenge for some people because it requires a willingness to confront our own weaknesses, our limiting beliefs, and the ways in which we might be sabotaging our own success.
That's true. It's much easier to blame external factors than to look inward and take responsibility for our own choices.
It is. But Hill argues that it's precisely this willingness to take ownership that separates those who achieve lasting success from those who don't.
So it's not about denying the challenges or pretending that everything is always our fault. It's about recognizing that even when faced with difficult circumstances, we still have the power to choose our response, to learn from our experiences, and to keep moving forward.
Exactly. It's about focusing on what we can control, which is our own thoughts, beliefs, and actions.
Well, I think we've covered an incredible amount of ground in this deep dive into Think and Grow Rich. We've explored some really profound concepts about the nature of success, the power of the mind, and the importance of aligning our thoughts, beliefs, and actions with our goals.
Yeah. We've also touched on some really practical strategies for cultivating a success mindset, overcoming challenges, and ultimately creating a life of abundance and fulfillment.
And while we've only scratched the surface of this incredibly rich and insightful book, I think we've unearthed some really valuable nuggets of wisdom that can help us all on our own journeys toward achieving our dreams.
I agree. And I hope that our conversation has inspired you to revisit this timeless classic and to discover for yourself the transformative power it holds. Because as Hill himself said, what the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve.
That's a perfect note to end on. So to our listeners, we encourage you to keep thinking, keep growing, and keep believing in your own boundless potential. Until next time, keep diving deep.